Hello Twilights and my fellow hunters, Minalex Waffles here. Hope you hear me in the game okay, is everything okay? And this is my friend.
My name is Fenrir. Fenrir?
However you want to pronounce it, I guess. And we are here with more Bloodborne lore, and you can eerily see those swinging corpses behind me. That's very grim. I don't have the monocular still, so I can't point out certain. That's unfortunate. I wanted him to be here for the lore videos, though, so I made this temporary hunter. Now for my lore notes. What's first on the agenda of reading? Okay. Worthy Healing Church, in theory, was Oda Workshop, which we know little about, but the powder kegs have close bonds to the weapon style, perhaps beliefs. Powder kegs were called heretics of the Workshop, Healing Church, likely. This confused me, cause what the F should it matter as long as you just kill the beast? So of course, whenever someone's called a heretic, something must have happened for that to occur. We all know from our own history. So, what happened in Old Yharnam? There's also the Vile Bloods. They must have gained that name for some reason. Okay, the Powder Keg Workshop just didn't... Well, I could say... Maybe they didn't die out when the hunt happened here. The Healing Church just wanted them out of the way for some reason. There's a theory that says... Oh, what? What do you want to say?
No.
I heard you!
I think it's a power, thing.
Oh, that would not surprise me.
Because the church got so much power and the Vile Bloods are a royal family getting power, so they're just like, they're basically doing the same thing. But
well,
the church is like,
of.
well, it's my thing, so, we're gonna kill you now. It's usually a power thing. Because everything pretty much bases back to the church, how the church was back in, like, I don't know the dates, but
I know what you're
back when,
referring
like, the
to.
witch trials were and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I've seen some of the horrific crap and some things. I've looked into it. Wow. The church having power is okay, but to that extent, no. And to this extent, absolutely not. What's that line? Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely? I think it applies!
It applies?
Okay, but anyway, there's a theory that says maybe the Oda Workshop, and of course the Powder Kegs, was more focused on crafting the weapons and tools than being hunters. Maybe. I could see that working, in all honesty. Making weapons for a hunter would be safer than actually being a hunter. I would prefer that. Myself, I'm an effing coward. I would never survive in Yharnam for very long. And besides, some people aren't cut out for combat, and are better to stick with what they know, such as weaponsmithing. Jura is known for being in contact with the Powder Kegs. Whether he was part of them, I couldn't say, but there is a chance he was. Another working theory is because of the weapons the workshop made, that the church simply didn't agree with them. The person I was listening talk about it could have been a couple of different guys. I'm leaning toward Dirk Sands Frontiers, Aegon of Astora, and I think there was somebody else. I'm not sure who it was, but he didn't really hold on to the theory where the church just didn't agree with their weapons. I mean, I could see it though, but I'm a little uncertain on it myself. The main theory I follow is that the Powder Kegs were the ones who burned Old Yharnam to the ground, and this is clarified in the game, actually, to an extent, I believe, right?
Yeah.
The reason it's a theory I follow is because of another connecting theory, which I'll get into in a bit here. But here's where we get to the more disturbing aspect. although not unbelievable, which is why I like the theory, because I could see it. It isn't known if the Healing Church ordered Old Yharnam burned or if the powder kegs acted alone. Although some people would say the Healing Church did order it. There's another theory that follows that the powder kegs did the burning as a last resort and the church just branded them as heretics to quell the public. Again, I could see this. I mean, if something goes wrong, you don't want to be the one who gets pointed at, right?
Yeah. Always have a scapegoat.
Yep. Someone bleat like a goat for me, please, in the audience. Not that I have an audience. That works! Now, a theory I follow strongly, and get back up, we're taking a walk. You just sat down, too. I'm going this way. Now, I follow this theory strongly because I do not doubt at all that they would do something this awful. I'm looking at this for a reason, this waterway. The Healing Church poisoned the water supply in Old Yharnam to get people there to easily accept their blood healing, as no other cures anyone tried were working against the ash and blood ailment. Now, I don't know if this is their water supply, or if this just happened after a lot of water, like rainfall, other such things. It could have just always been here. But the first time I realized it was here, I wondered, was this the water supply, and was it the thing that potentially got poisoned? Which is why I brought us over here to look at it. But because of the ash and blood ailment, which I do follow the theory was poisoned, this water supply here, this triggered the worst of the beastly scourge, which before then the church managed to hide. But in this case, they could not effing do that. Jura was once a pale blood hunter. If he was during this time, I couldn't say, but some think he wasn't anymore, because you can be expelled from the hunter's dream permanently. At least I think so. Maybe you can go back, but I doubt it.
Nope.
I'm following that theory that he was pale blood for a reason I'm going to explain at some point. Apparently, I don't think I wrote it down directly after that thought. I'm not sure why. The powder kegs tried to fight off the beasts of Old Yharnam, but things simply weren't going well, so they decided to burn the city to the ground. Any beasts that were left were slaughtered along with the people, possibly. Despite the fact we can see a good number of beasts here. I mean, we killed a couple. And this is just a small area down here. Upstairs, well, I didn't want to have to kill Jura so we could talk this out peacefully without getting shot with a Gatling gun. But there's a lot of beasts here still. And you can see they attempted to close things off. The doors and windows are boarded up. Everything's closed. And, as I was pointing out earlier, very grimly, you can see corpses hanging. They are tied up in a fashion I find most disturbing. And I'm not sure whether they were dead or not when they were hung. Not even sure I want an answer to that question. Ha 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 ha. But with the beasts and the people being slaughtered during this part of the hunt, where the Healing Church could not hide things anymore, that could all be well and bad enough. Another theory to this is that Jura found a survivor, and I don't remember where I heard this from, or saw it, but they told him that they saw someone poison the water supply. Someone from the Healing Church did it. And right away afterward, people were sick. And they weren't getting better. And then, of course, the miracle tonic of healing blood was brought over. I would think it would have been a mercy for this person to be killed, because who knows what the church would have done to keep them quiet. And that's if it was true. Because this is just a theory.
No, that totally happened. More than likely, they tried their best to keep people quiet.
Oh, I bet they did. Which is why it's a theory I follow heavily. I'm not sure if I thought it up anymore or if I heard it elsewhere, but I could see it happening. Like, I would imagine Jura would kill the survivor just to spare them potential torture.
Yeah, well, if we base stuff off of our own history...
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
That's the kind of stuff that a church would do to keep someone from being like, yep, church is evil, guys.
Or, I'm an apothecary, I can heal you with my boiled herbs. You're a witch, burn at stake.
Yep.
Imbeciles! All you had to do back then was point at someone and say witchcraft, and they just wouldn't care and just kill them. It was that simple. That's all you had to do to get someone killed.
Yeah.
Shudders.
Maybe some of these people knew science. And they're just like, yeah, according to science, nope, witch!
Yeah, apparently you're allowed to study the theory behind it, but if you start playing with the chemicals and crap, then it's a problem.
Oh, you're a woman and you know stuff?
Witch.
Witch!
Okay, stop. Let's not get on that tangent. We'll be here forever.
But the main point is...
But he makes a good point, yes. That could totally be what happened.
You can draw similarities between our own world churches.
Yes.
From, like, the 19-whatevers, or 1500s, or... I don't remember how far it was. But,
I think 15, 1400, yeah.
It's the same type of punishments, is what we're getting at.
Considering this is Yharnam, and what we see what the Healing Church has done in the Upper Cathedral Ward, I think it would be a little different than what we did in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, the orphans. The effing orphans. We saw what became of them. And I don't think they volunteered. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's further along in the lore. Back to my notes.
Back to this.
Notes. I was right here. Okay. It's after this that maybe the church brands the powder kegs as heretics. Jura wasn't one in theory, but he likely wouldn't want a thing to do with the church or the hunts any longer. I mean, if the potential survivor who saw the poisoning of the water supply and he took care of them to spare them from torment, well, I wouldn't want to be having any connection to them either. Especially if he knew he would get no support. The Healing Church is probably very new at that point in time, but still. You don't try to go up against a big corporation and expect to win easily. It just doesn't usually work. Not in reality, anyway.
Yeah, you either need some sort of superpowers or a huge army.
Even then, it might not work too well. I mean, there's something called mob mentality for a reason. You'd probably have a hard time getting people to agree with you, for one thing. What was next on my list? He didn't want to be part of the hunts any longer, and so chooses to be severed from the hunter's dream to guard the beasts of Yharnam with a potential friend. It's theorized they don't really know each other, he's just kind of there. I just call him his friend, though. And as you can see yourself when you play the game and come to Old Yharnam, you're clearly told by Jura, if you don't leave, he is literally going to gun you down. If your hunter is killed by any of these beasts, or they get shot at, he will have special dialogue signifying that yes, he was part of the hunter's dream, which solidifies the theory he was a pale blood hunter at one point in time. Although, I wonder about that sometimes, considering what the doll can tell you about all the headstones that stand to serve the memory for the hunters. The Pale Blood Hunter seems to be a rare occurrence, but that's a lot of headstones. Especially when you go to the Great Tree for the final boss. Bosses, actually. If they're rare, then the rest were either just bleh, whatever. Let's see if you work out as the hunter that whatever this thing needs to whatever. I'm not sure on all the details on that. Sorry for the lack of worthwhile sentence there. But, like, the Pale Blood Hunter seems special. And if they're special and rare, then there shouldn't have been that dang many. I'm not sure on that one though, but it just seems a little strange to me now that I think about it. Oh, what was next? Of anything, I wish there was a way your hunter could befriend Jura sooner. Just promise you don't harm the beast, he won't attack you. As it is possible to get through Old Yharnam without killing anything. It's not easy, mind you, but it's doable. Especially if you're trying to pick up all the dang items. Now that really gets tricky. But I can't understand why they would make you wait on being able to befriend him. You might not see much of a point in it yourself, and you probably haven't made full connection that the beasts are actually people, despite the fact you watch Gascoigne change before your own eyes. And you can't not see that. It's not a cutscene, and unless he's out of your camera view when he changes, you're gonna have to see it happen. The beasts, at the end of the day, they are people. They're just... their minds are twisted and their bodies have been seriously reformed. So basically, you're a murderer. Although technically it's self-defense at the end of the day. It's still a grim thought, though. That is basically what I said in the next paragraph there. And if you are going for 100% like I am in my 100% walkthrough, then you have to kill Jura at some point to get his garb, which sucks. If you don't care about it, you can be his friend and not ever worry about him gunning you down in Old Yharnam. Unless, of course, you go from the first lamp, then he might shoot you anyway. I've never tested that. Have you?
Tested what?
I suppose I got you bored, didn't I? I was talking about after you befriend Jura, when the game lets you. If you go from the first lamp instead of that other way, will he shoot you still? Have you ever tested it?
So, I believe to get, be friends with him, you have to...
Well, I know how it works. It's just, if you don't approach him from that right angle, and you go from the very first lamp to enter the area, will he still shoot you if you don't attack anything? I've never tested it. I should. I'm curious.
So the whole thing is, as long as you don't attack him directly, no matter what, and then you just come over here to the door.
Well, I know. That's not what I'm saying.
Come through the door. Yeah.
You go through here and approach him that way, there's no problem. But if you go from the very first doorway into Old Yharnam after you've spoken to him, is he still gonna shoot you?
Yeah, he shouldn't.
I'm gonna have to test that now.
But it would involve a lot of dodging, because the monsters want to kill you anyways.
Yeah.
So you'd have
It's
to
something I've
dodge
wondered, and I'm definitely gonna have to test that now, just to see what happens.
Right.
I'll just make sure I don't have any important blood echoes on me at the time. Alright, the next part of my lore note technically isn't lore, but if it's your first time playing the game and you know nothing about it, you're gonna go up there and try to kill Jura because you'd like to wander around this area in peace. I don't blame you, but you don't necessarily have to kill him. Pretty easy to avoid. Can't turn his Gatling gun that dang fast, despite how it looks. The only thing you gotta worry about really is the beast stun locking you. Then you have a problem.
Yeah.
Or, of course, his friend, as we were discovering as we tried to get to a safe spot to discuss this. We had some problems. Bit of lore. I might have to discuss that one later, because I can't really show that off right now. Well, I can go down there. Now, we were mentioning this door and how you can talk to Jura and be his friend. You can only open this if you go through a different direction, from a place called Yarhagul. They're connected in some way, obviously, and there is a boss over there. A dark beast. There's a theory I heard that it broke out of the cells in Old Yharnam and dug out the area, like that tunnely cave area you see. It dug that out to escape. And there's a new question.
In Yharnam, because I thought you had to go through Hypean Gale first.
Oh yeah.
To activate that boss.
I don't think so, because you can completely avoid going through Hypogean Gale at all. And then once the Blood Moon rises, you can still mess with it. Although it's a lot less annoying.
It's just a lot harder to get through.
No, it's more annoying doing it that way. I always make sure I do that before I deal with Rom. But yes, the areas are connected. And the working theory is that the Dark Beast broke out of a cell and dug his way out into the backyard area of Old Yharnam beyond this door. And the question is, just what is that spot behind Old Yharnam? I just noticed it's kind of empty. Seems like something should be there. Maybe there was a smaller bit of farmland or tiny houses once were there that just no longer exist, or something. Seems like a pointless, empty area that just serves as a boss fight, which seems silly. But I'm not sure what to make of the spot. Or possibly, it could have been, as my lore notes are telling me, that there might have been an area the powder kegs worked out of after the church declared them heretics. There's just some ideas I get into the spot while looking at it. It's probably nowhere near close, but we're allowed to make our theories. I mean, there's nothing there. And why would this giant door be here if there was no purpose to that area at one point in time that we just don't know about? Of course it could just be there to connect the areas, and it's nothing. There's always that.
So...
yeah.
I think there's actually a link to this boss to the beast claws in the that you get later.
Yeah. I can see that.
I think the person who was whatever irrelevant is or irreverent easy person she was working with. I can't remember his name, but
I don't remember either.
maybe I can find it here.
I know they were working
Archibald?
on trying to mimic the electrical effects and managed it eventually, I think.
Yeah, Archibald.
Yeah, him.
He was experimenting. I think he was experimenting in here on how to make a dark beast.
Maybe he became the Dark Beast himself.
Possibly. I mean, you do find in the chalices, you find the dark beast in the chalices.
Yeah, I never got past him with my first main hunter. That was
Oh,
that was a while ago now. I've learned the game better since then.
guy is crazy.
Oh, kidding, and he hurts, man.
I'm attempting my powerful friends.
As for the boss of this area, the Bloodstar Beast, I'm just guessing it was a Healing Church member, because that building does seem like a chapel. But so does the building where you find the dead Bloodstar Beast, where all the beasts are worshipping. I'm not sure what to make of it entirely. But my main theory is that it was probably a Healing Church member. Because the clerics become the most horrific beasts, as we know, from item description. Plus, the thing had the chalice. And regular people can't really access the tomb of the old gods, yada yada BS, they're not gods. So it would have to be someone with access. Which would more than certainly be the Healing Church, or someone who survived as a Bergenworth scholar. Maybe. We do find a choir member, or choir, however you want to pronounce that there. What's her face? I suddenly forget her name. Yuri? Yeah, that was her name, Yuri. She's there snooping around. So it wouldn't surprise me if someone of higher status in the Healing Church, or who knows, Mensis got a hold of Alice, but that's why my theory is that it's a Healing Church member who just changed. And it could have been a Yarhagul person, but not sure about that one either. And of course, it could have been some random person. Maybe it was no one important at all.
Yeah, it was probably the original sect of like the Bergenworth.
Yeah. Because it's like, I couldn't think of a good reason some random person would have a chalice. I mean, Bergenworth is deemed forbidden ground by the Healing Church. Obviously, they don't want people messing with it. For a considerable number of reasons I can note, but not right now. And that, however, was wherever worthwhile sentences all around here. That was, however, the last of my lore notes. And that didn't even come close to an hour, thank effing goodness. But that, thankfully, means the end of this extra temporary hunter I made. And now, if you're still up for it, we can run through the Cathedral Ward. We'll do the lore, of course, after we've killed everything. But that said, my dear Twilights and fellow hunters, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to support my YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, and share it. If you'd like to support my Twitch channel, which is linked, please follow and share it. And if you can find his channel, Twitch or YouTube, please support him as well.
It's Azrael0451.
There you go. Now you guys have no excuse not to go look at it, because he just told you. Right. That all said, we will see you in the next one. Bye.